that's more balanced, a world where everybody is truly treated equally. I am the creator of Cardano. My transactions process exactly the same way as the poorest person in Ghana or Senegal. And there's never been a social system in human history where the leaders are truly treated the same way as the lowest people on the economic ladder, ever.
Guys, welcome back to the channel, Keith at Crypto Bullseye. So we've got a couple of special guests on the channel today, and it's going to be a big one, and it's going to be Cardano focused. So we're going to bring fundamentals, we're going to bring technicals, and we're also going to bring tax legislation and the implications so far as accounting is concerned within the crypto market. So we're going to try and bring everything collectively together. And we'll start with the introductions, and it's something that I don't usually do, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Keith, I'm the creator of the Crypto Bullseye channel. I'm a trader, and I've been investing in cryptocurrency and trading in cryptocurrency since late 2020. I'm the managing director of Bullseye Asset Management Limited, and my background is financial services with over 20 years under my belt. So that's me. We'll go on to Carolina next.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to see you here and happy to be here as well. Carolina, most known in X as La Petite Ada. I love creating content for the Cardano ecosystem, and I became an SPL myself after my journey on the crypto space. And I have been here since 2020, as you.
Same as me, yeah, same. I wasn't heavily invested in 2020, but as 2021 progressed and we started getting the pumps, then I was heavily invested, and that's where I started making good moves and then bad moves and lots of mistakes along the way.
So, part of the journey.
Part of the journey, yeah. We've got the scar wound.
Part of the club.
Yeah, I think we've all been through it. Anyone that's been in a few years, we've all had the ups and the downs, haven't we? And we've all got the wounds. And you see the stock market drop 5% and everybody goes crazy. And we've got like a 30, 40% drop, and it's like a drop in the ocean to us, isn't it?
Yeah.
What happens in a year on the stock market?
Yeah, the stock market moves are generally a Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll go on to Linda next.
Right. Hi, everyone. I'm Linda. I'm also a stake operator on Cardano. I'm a bit of a DeFi lover as well, and I do create educational content about DeFi and all the technical stuff. And yeah, I've been around since 2021. That's when I really got into Cardano, and it's been a journey.
I've actually got the Cardano mapped out since 2021 because it's something that we've been following. I started my channel in 2022. And I've mapped the Cardano chart out alongside the Wall Street cheat sheet, and we've been looking at that constantly for the last 2-3 years together, kind of thing. And it's amazing how these levels actually match. And there's a couple of key levels that I'll share at the end of the video. There's also something else that I wanted to share about the video as well, because Cardano, it is a blockchain, but it's also a kind of movement. And there's a lot of things behind there. When you talk about Satoshi Nakamoto and Bitcoin, I think, as far as I'm concerned, Charles Hoskinson's the next best thing. And don't get me wrong, I love Vitalik. He's great, but when you look at what Charles is doing, and I'll show a video at the end of this, what Charles is doing compared to, say, Vitalik, he's a little bit more of a clown, isn't he? But we won't talk too much about that. The main thing that I'm trying to say is, as far as inspiration's concerned, I think he's probably the next best thing. But that's me rambling on. We'll get on to Warren's introduction.
Hey everyone. I've been on the channel before with Keith. My journey started in crypto in 2021 as well. Got in on that second half of the year pump, and thought I was a genius. And then November, December hit, and the Fed started talking about cutting rates, and I just didn't take the hint. Sorry, increasing rates. I didn't take the hint, and I think I'm on board with a lot of people that saw their profits round trip. And so over time, I've decided to educate myself, not just in crypto and the charts. I also had a terrible time finding a good accountant, and I eventually did find someone that has been in crypto. And this is the company I represent now, is Block3 Finance. But prior to Block3 Finance, the gentleman I'm talking about, his name is Mahad Mohammed, and he runs an accounting firm called Tax Partners, which has been around since 1983. But he started doing crypto through that firm, and then he specialized in got into a full focused crypto accountancy called Block 3 Finance. But Mahad has been in crypto since its inception. I think he started in 2009, and then he went to CRA, Revenue Canada, and they actually put him on a task force to determine how it would get crypto would get taxed at that time, Bitcoin. And so he's really their grassroots knowledge right from the beginning. And I'm in with him and another guy by the name of Kevin, who works with us and very bright on the accounting side. And he's younger, he's like half my age. And so we've got a good mix. And then that firm has about 40 staff behind it. So we have a pretty substantial accounting practice and firm that is now focused on crypto. And we have locations and jurisdictions we can deal with around the world, which is the UK, Europe. We've got offices in Dubai, Singapore, and of course in North America. So we can cover off Canada and the US jurisdictions.
Pretty impressive.
Thanks, Warren. Thanks, Warren.
Thank you.
We'll talk a little bit about the complexities of some of those cases a little bit further on in the video, but
Yep.
I want to try and focus on.
Happy to share.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Warren. So I wanted to focus next on, as far as like the fundamentals are concerned, there's a lot being going on with Cardano. There's a lot being going on as far as governance is concerned. There's a lot being going on as far as Bitcoin integration is concerned. And you guys know a lot more about that than me. I'm more of a technical analyst, so it'd be good to share your thoughts. And we'll start with Carolina.
Well, I'm a super fan of Cardano, and as I said before, I started my journey in 2020, but I actually started with Bitcoin, my crypto journey, and I was a petite Bitcoin fan as well. Just after watching Charles' video, I flipped everything to Cardano. But Bitcoin has become one of the best storage of value ever created, and you could see it as a digital gold in a way. So, but as gold is not an asset that you can just hold and have it at home and do anything with it. Nowadays, you can use it to create more value, to multiply your wealth. So that's what Cardano is willing to do with Bitcoin, because now it's pretty hard, or the famous say, not your keys, not your crypto. So it's pretty hard for people to trust in centralized exchanges and do all of this. So the best way to do it, and in my opinion, is just to trust in a layer one solution that's already there, and it's one of the most secure ones, and start multiplying your wealth across chains. And this is something that Cardano is going to be able to do pretty soon, thanks to many things that are happening in the ecosystem and many people building around all this. And this is something that everyone in Bitcoin and other chains should take a look at, because it's something that it's gonna revolutionize the crypto space. Bitcoin is the entry way for many crypto enthusiasts or people that are willing to get into the crypto space. And if you want to do something with that Bitcoin, if you're already a holder, you can just go into Cardano, use the smart contracts, the dApps, and everything, and you are gonna be able to pay the fees of the chain in Bitcoin even. So this is gonna be a game changer for everyone. I know Linda knows way more how the whole process works, so she might after maybe just explain a little bit and how this everything will work in a trustless way. But this is gonna be something that will melt faces in the next few couple of months, especially because there's probably gonna be a demo coming pretty soon on how everything works. So I will definitely stay tuned to Charles' socials, to project called Fluid Tokens as well. I know they're currently working with him to create all these demos. So So yeah, this is something that's gonna be very cool for the crypto space.
Big things coming on Cardano. And the same again for Linda, you can build on that by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much happening in Cardano right now. One of the hot topics, obviously, is governance at the moment, because for the first time, we really have a choice and a say in the ecosystem as a community. So, yeah, a lot of people are talking about this and where we want to go, what we want to do, what do we want to see on Cardano. And so it's been a little messy in Cardano right now, but I think it's a good thing. You know, it just means that we have so many passionate people who really care about Cardano, and they obviously all have very strong opinions as to where we want to go in the ecosystem. So that's kind of been like the main topic at the moment. But of course, there's so many other things happening at the moment, like the Bitcoin integration, a lot of talks about scaling and everything else. So we've been pretty busy on Cardano. As for the Bitcoin integration, I feel like there's a bit of a misconception where people look at it and it's like, oh, it's just another bridge, you know, which is not the case. So this is like actually true interoperability. And what they do is a trustless bidirectional bridge, which means there's absolutely no need for a middleman with this. So they utilize zero knowledge cryptography, which means it's, so the technical side a little bit, just to make it a bit clearer. So the smart contracts utilize the ZKPs, which basically are the eyes and ears of the smart contracts. And so they can basically check what happens on one blockchain and then put it onto another blockchain, right? So it's not really like a bridge, it's more like a portal, which makes it incredibly secure. And so this is really exciting because it's a completely new technology. And I think Cardano needs this and Bitcoin needs this just as much as Cardano does. Because yes, Bitcoin is a store of value, but at some point, once all the Bitcoin is mined, they will rely on the transaction fees. So bringing DeFi to Bitcoin is going to be really important for them as well. And as a Bitcoin user with the ZKPs, you won't even really notice that you have left Bitcoin. It's completely seamless. And as Carolina said as well, you can pay with Babel fees on Cardano. You can pay for transaction fees and Bitcoins and everything else. So you're always in full control of your Bitcoin. So it's very different to traditional bridges that we've seen in the past. And I think this is going to be really big and really amazing. And I think a lot of the Bitcoiners, and I know people always say, oh, Bitcoiners are maxis and they don't care about anything else. They just want their Bitcoin. But when you look back at when Babylon launched staking, they've collected about or received about $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin in just 1 hour. So Bitcoiners, there is a big group of Bitcoiners that are really hungry to do something with their Bitcoin and find a use case for it. So I think it's going to be pretty big. And again, like we both need it, Bitcoin just as much as Cardano.
Yeah, 100%. Knew you two were the right to get on the channel, the right ones to get on the channel. You two have met each other before as well, haven't you?
Yes, like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago,
Really?
I think was the last time. Yeah.
Right, okay. Okay, we'll move on now from a tax perspective then, Warren. This is where you bring your knowledge and wisdom into it, and yeah, and the implications.
The exciting stuff.
The exciting stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, definitely. I mean, I'm not a Cardano expert, but I mean, I know there's a lot of momentum with respect to governance and new voting rights, and even the price action has been heating up. I think the community is excited about a number of things, scalability, and with all of these things, and even in the U.S. with the crypto strategic reserve, it was named as a potential asset that may be put into the strategic reserve. So there's definitely a lot of excitement around Cardano, and of course, you've always had a very strong, voracious community, and certainly, I think people who have made negative comments against Cardano have found out just how strong and and outspoken that community can be. But essentially, with all of the background on Cardano, it's been around. It's a layer one. There's certainly some tax and accounting aspects that have to be taken into account when looking at a coin like that. So from an accounting firm's perspective, Just even on the governance side, where you've got large Cardano holders that can vote on key network decisions, and they gives them some stake in its direction. But there's a lot that's going on in the background with respect to that, right? So that participation has to be tracked somehow, as it can have tax implications with respect to staking, governance rewards, etc. And then even with the Cardano Foundation, you've got treasury interactions and delegations that may qualify as income. And then, of course, with any coin that you're involved in, if you have a stake in it, or you're trading it or investing in it, you certainly have reporting frameworks, and Cardano is a massive ecosystem. So we have to take all of that into account. Even we're even preparing for the potential of it being part of the U.S. crypto strategic reserve. So, I mean, we're going to have to deal with institutional type of valuations, mark to market valuations for Cardano holdings, because they're going to become more significant when it comes to corporate treasuries. So these are things that we can't just address when they happen in the moment, right? Yeah, you have to be prepared for it. So accounting firms, and unfortunately many don't, and many aren't specialized, but we certainly, the good ones, do, and we have to address that, and even with respect to jurisdictional compliance, because you've got institutions that have offices in the US, in the EU, and also Asia and other areas. They all will hold Cardano on their books. So we have to always have a mark to market understanding of the value of those assets at any given time, when we're doing our audit of someone's accounts, in order to file taxes properly. And it's not just for us to sit here and say, hey, come to us so we can scoop money from you to give to the government. I mean, that's always a nasty thought for people. But obviously there are legalities, but the other side of what we do is to actually, if you get in early enough, we can actually set you up so that you can save money on taxes, so that we can mitigate tax impacts to individuals and to corporations. And even on the scalability, again, I'm not an expert, but the Hydra scalability enhancements that are in the works, and any of the scalability that's been released in the past, you've got gas fee costs, you've got batching strategies, and my understanding is you've even got different channels for the Hydra protocol. So when you get into all of this, it becomes very complex very quickly, and we must, even as an accounting firm, we've got to even deal with sidechain activity and layer 2 integrations. And Linda was talking about the Bitcoin integration right before I spoke, and I was laughing because she said, "Not another bridge," and I was like, in my mind, I was going, "No, not a bridge at all." Like, people do not want to hear the word bridge, with all the hacks and all the issues and the inefficiencies, and the anxiety of waiting for that transaction to go through, sometimes hours, sometimes even it takes a day or more, in the past. So that's good to hear. However, with that, we're going to have to deal with these interoperability transactions and what they mean for accounting. So with respect to that, long story short, all of the momentum, all of the background, all of the depth of the Cardano ecosystem, it's certainly something that throws off a lot tax implications. And again, our number one priority is to take away the stress of our customers and also save them as much money on taxes, which requires, a certain amount of planning.
Thanks for sharing that, Warren. I think it's probably my turn now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my chart and we'll go over the technicals. But right, okay, so we are at a key significant area on Cardano now. The key significant area is 67 cents. So we're holding the 67 cent level. You can see that was resistance there. We broke through with volume. We talked about this on the channel. Now we're hitting between two moving averages, the 50 moving average and the 20 moving average, which they are going to act as support. They always act as support, and I'll show you time and time again why they act as support, where they act as support. They're lagging indicators, and you can see the 200's a representation of 200 candles, averaged out 50 candles, and 20 candles. So they are just lagging indicators. But when you look at a chart, you look at buy orders and you look at sell orders, humans look at these moving averages. And when you've got a lot of people looking at a lot of moving averages, guess what that creates? Buy orders and sell orders. So we say that this 67 cent, if I just zoom in a little bit, we say that this 67 cent is a strong support. And it's a strong support because if we zoom out, you can see this 67 cent level, guys, 67 cent down here was the lower high before we started putting in a bottom in this long accumulation phase of Cardano. Now you can see it was rejected here. It was rejected here. That's the first level that we need to hold and stay above that 67 cents. The next key area, guys, if we just zoom out, you'll see that's the 38.2% retracement of its previous all-time high, which is sitting here around about the $1.25 to the $1.32. What I want to show you is this, guys. When you've got a lack of a build-up of price action, like this here, what happens when you break through this barrier is you get little resistance. Where's little resistance to, guys? It's a 61.8% retracement. Where's little resistance to? It's the $2. What is $2? It's a psychological round number. Now, the next thing that we need to look at is what kind of resistance have we got in front of us once we break these key areas, because this is the big resistance level. And what this is, guys, is a fixed range volume indicator, which shows the volume from the previous break, its bull market high back here, all the way to where price action is now. And you can see this is the area of the most traded volume. We're above that now, and you can see that the volume's getting less, the volume's getting less, it's getting less, and it's getting less till we get to this point here, the 38.2, and that's the key area that we've been trying to break and close above. So projections for Cardano for the bull market, when we do get alt season, we've been waiting patiently. What I'm going to do is we're going to use this Fibonacci extension tool from its previous low here of that accumulation phase in the previous run, all the way to its bull market high, then all the way back down. What we're going to do is look for projections of the 1272 and the 1618. So you've got your 1272 here, $4.15, and you've got your 1618 at $5.24. So that's what I'm looking for, guys, in the Cardano chart on the short term. But we're at a key level now that we do need to hold. So that's my thoughts on that. And I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll stop rambling on, guys. But I mean, have you guys got any predictions for Cardano? Where do you think that Cardano is going to go? It's difficult, guys, because we actually happen in the future.
Keith, can you pop that chart back up again?
Sure can, mate. Sure can.
Just so we can point to.
Let me just share that again, Warren, for you.
Yeah, and just so I mean, I don't know if anyone on here looks into Elliott Wave, but I mean, just some of your fib extensions and that may line up with. I mean, you look at that move. That's that looks very impulsive off the bottom, yeah, and it looks like a massive wave two. Now, I mean, I'm not an Elliott Wave expert, but you certainly can, and for anyone that dabbles in Elliott Wave or is an expert in it, this is an interesting chart because it does look like it has some serious promise with respect to Elliott Wave, and even on the last move, there you can see that there's just in recent past that big spike up off the bottom to the levels that we're at now. I mean, it's retraced a bit. I mean, that could be on a small fractal, that could be a wave one, and we could be getting ready to break out, or it could be a wave three, depending on how far back you want to go.
Yeah.
So, a lot of confluence to some of the things you're saying, Keith. And it sure would be nice if we do get those numbers, because I guess that would have to mean that we're in a right translated cycle, not a left, as a lot of people thought, including you and me. I think we discussed a left translated cycle last year sometime, and that certainly isn't going to play out.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. But
it may, if the top's already in, then it was left translated, but let's hope it's not.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling that we're going to get some kind of either an indication or some kind of a rate cut at some point soon, because I mean, we've started stimulating, we've reduced our rates, Europe reduced their rates, America's late to the game, China started stimulating. So as far as like M2 money supply is concerned, we're waiting for that from the United States, aren't we? That was interesting actually when you were talking then, because that's a 61.8% retracement from this big here. So that's like confluence, 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 and confluence. So that's a strong support.
And that bounce that you just got, you were talking about, we just spiked down and bounced. I mean, the US GDP numbers came in today, and they were weak. So you got to sell off there.
Yeah.
And that weakness in the economy may, certainly trigger the Fed to become a bit more dovish next week, and you may get some continuation up thereafter. But I think it's going to be choppier down, going into next week's meeting.
Yeah. It's usually a good indication, though. When we go choppy down, it's usually a good indication of going into a meeting than running into it. So fingers crossed on that one. We're dictated by what Mr. Jerome Powell's going to say. Right. Okay. So that was me. So bringing Linda and Carolina back into it again. I mean, is there anything that you guys want to share? It'd be good to share your social medias, share your thoughts on where you think Cardano's going in the next, say, 6, 12, 18 months.
Well, if I might say something, regarding the Cardano, the future of Cardano, I think it's gonna be a bright future, because if I remember correctly, in the last bull run, we didn't have any smart contracts, and we saw $3 per ADA. So now we do have a lot of cool things coming up in the ecosystem. We're gonna have layers, which is a protocol that's gonna give us Solana speed, but keeping all this decentralization and security, and other cool stuff like Hydra that's already deployed, and Midgard, and many stuff that are gonna come into Cardano and make Cardano not only one of the most decentralized chains, but one of also the one that's a leader market in governance. And it's gonna be practically a DeFi layer for Bitcoin. So all the TVL that's in Bitcoin will jump also a little bit into Cardano, which is gonna pump a little bit the price. So I'm expecting at least $5 per ADA. So this, I think that could happen in the next few months, or even beginning of next year, depending how everything develops, and all the legislations that have been going on in the whole market. But yeah, I think Cardano has a very bright future. And if you haven't looked at what Cardano is doing and how Cardano is working and doing it, you should definitely do it. Go and see it, because it's one of the, in my opinion, the best chains you have around.
Yeah, well, it's who's building on the chain during the bear market when the price is low, because price is one thing, but it's what's happening on the network that's the main thing. And it's the development that happens in the bear market for you to get the successes of the bull market. So unfortunately, people are not interested when Cardano's really cheap, because Cardano's going to zero at that point, but the development's happening in the background. So it stands the test of time. So it's important that people do research that kind of thing. And yourself, Linda.
Yeah, I completely agree. We're in a much better position now with Cardano. We've got so many amazing things on Cardano. And I also think with how everything is going, Cardano might just solve the blockchain trilemma, because we've got decentralization right. We're one of the most decentralized blockchains in the world. We've got the security right. Now we just need to focus on scaling, which we do. We're working on layers and Hydra and all of these things. And so once that comes to fruition, I think we'll be pretty unbeatable in Cardano. And yeah, the future is pretty bright. And with governance and everything else, if we play our cards right, I think it's going to be pretty amazing.
Future's bright, the future's Cardano. And any words of wisdom from yourself, Warren?
No, not much to add. I mean, I think your analysis on the chart was very good, and it's. I think my only comment is the Cardano chart for an ecosystem coin that's been around, a layer one that's been around for a long time. I think it kind of mirrors some of the other sustainable projects out there, like Curve. You know, all of these projects have gone through you know, difficult moments, and convex finance, but you know, Curve being on the stablecoin side. So again, another ecosystem, you know, steeped with a lot of activity, a lot of you know, it's linked with stable coins. You know, if you want to swap, you know, stable coins, you know how big stable coins have become, and the war against stable coins seems to have subsided, at least for now. And I think there's a lot of momentum in the stable coin world. And people need to switch between stable coins. So ecosystems like Cardano and Curve and their charts are, you know, remarkably similar in the general sense that, you know, they had these huge spikes and these huge blow off tops, you know, initially, and then they went into these long bear market and accumulation periods. And if you look at the Cardano chart, you know, it strikes me as so similar to those. And I think they're going to see massive pumps. And I think there's a few experts out there that are looking at these charts saying, you know, not all crypto coins that are past a certain age are dead. I think the ones that do keep developing, the ones that do focus on long-term sustainability, you know, they may have their day in the sun again, but then at a whole new level. So that's really all I have to add on that.
Yeah, completely agree with all that, Warren. It's definitely completely right that the project does need to keep building, and they have stood the test of time. And I am going to share a video of Charles very shortly and just show people exactly the passion behind Charles and his actual vision, because it resonates with me, and it probably resonates with a lot of you guys within the space, because it's all about equality and nobody is better than anybody. And this video clip just shows exactly his beliefs, his determination, and how to add fair value to the world. Every single person around the world, whether it's third world, second, first world, everybody's equal. And that's the thesis that he's trying to build on the Cardano chain. So we're going to share that. But before that, we're going to share your social media, Carolina.
Yeah, sure. If you guys wanna know more about Cardano, you can follow me on X or on Instagram, La Petite Ada. I usually post some educational content, some pictures about myself, my life, and my crypto journey. So if you like that, just follow me.
We'll leave the links in the description below. And yourself, Linda?
It's just for me, CryptoFly. It's on Twitter, CryptoFly777. On YouTube, it's just CryptoFly. And yeah, I do a lot of educational content around DeFi, kind of teaching people how everything works, how the protocols work on Cardano, how you can maximize profits, about strategies, and so on and so forth. And just a little bit of everything, a little bit of governance, a little bit of DeFi, a little bit of fun. So
yeah, subscribe to these guys, follow these guys. I will leave the link in the description below. And as far as block finance is concerned, Warren, people are in this kind of situation now where they need to take profits. People are in the situation now where they need to use finance and consultancy as far as forward planning is concerned to be able to have that exit strategy and take money out of the market. So I'm going to share the block finance link at the bottom in the description below as well, because that is something that a lot of you viewers that are watching now are actually thinking of. if you're not thinking of it, you should be thinking of it, because an exit strategy and understanding exactly how you're going to come out the market and minimize your tax exposure, then I'll leave the link in the description below for block 3. And I think that's about it from me.
Perfect.
I think that's about it from me. So goodbye to everyone. Thank you all for coming on the show. And I'm going to leave you all with this clip of Charles. Thanks. Bye, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Guys.
Balance in a world where everybody is truly treated equally. I am the creator of Cardano. My transactions process exactly the same way as the poorest person in Ghana or Senegal. And there's never been a social system in human history where the leaders are truly treated the same way as the lowest people on the economic ladder, ever. As much as in America we'd like to talk about democracy and a constitutional republic, George Washington would be treated differently from the farmer in Virginia. That's just an expectation and a fact of humanity. But blockchains are the first systems in humanity that actually have the property where they're treated the same. If there is no greater meaning in life than trying to get such a thing into the hands of as many people as possible, because we know we're leaving something behind that the human race has never enjoyed. We're leaving behind something where everybody can treat each other fairly. This creates trust, respect, understanding, and ultimately it takes us to the next state of evolution where the human race begins to actually embrace love and peace. That's something I can live for, and that's something that means something.